Brothers at War, the life and legacy of Jacob and Esau. The twins foretold. In the heat of Canaan's sun, the dust swirled lazily outside the tent of Isaac and Rebekah. The days had stretched into years, and though the man of promise, the son of Abraham himself, had taken a wife from his kin, Rebekah remained childless. Every glance she cast at her barren womb reminded her of the ache of her heart. She heard the laughter of other children from neighboring tents and longed to hold a child of her own. But her womb remained silent. Isaac, a man of quiet faith, remembered how his own birth had been nothing short of a miracle. His mother Sarah had borne him in her old age. So he went out into the fields, where the grass was dry and the air smelled of olives, and he prayed to the God of his father Abraham. And the Lord heard him. Rebekah felt it soon after, life within her. But this joy was not gentle. The children within her fought. It was as though a war was being waged in her womb. She doubled over in pain, again and again, and cried out in fear and confusion. What should have been a time of joy became a mystery to her. Finally, she inquired of the Lord, and the Lord spoke to her, his voice echoing through the recesses of her spirit. 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 peoples from within you shall be divided. The one shall be stronger than the other, the older shall serve the younger. Rebekah pondered these words deeply. 2 nations? One stronger, the older serving the younger? It was a strange prophecy, but she held it close as a mother does. The day of birth came, and the tent was full of the frantic energy of midwives and the cry of first labor. Out came the first child, red, hairy all over like a garment. The midwives exclaimed, and the women laughed in amazement. They named him Esau, which means hairy. But before the women could even finish cleaning him, another hand reached out, grasping the heel of the firstborn. And the second boy emerged, smoother, leaner, with eyes that watched everything. They called him Jacob, the one who grasps the heel, a name that would become a symbol of his nature. Rivalry from the womb. Esau grew strong, his arms filled with muscle, his chest broadened, and his face weathered like the rocky hills he loved to hunt in. The wilderness called to him. He became a man of the open fields, skilled with bow and arrow, his heart beating with the rhythm of the wild. His hair remained thick and coarse, his skin bronzed by the sun. Isaac loved him, for he brought him the game he loved to eat. Jacob, by contrast, was a man of stillness. He preferred the tents, the quiet routines, the soft murmur of livestock and firelight. He learned the ways of trade and food, of story and silence. He knew how to listen. He was cunning, watchful. Rebekah loved him dearly, perhaps because she saw in him the destiny God had spoken. The favoritism between the parents was quiet at first, but it shaped the boys. Esau, beloved of his father, grew reckless, secure in his birthright. Jacob, loved by his mother, became patient and calculating. One day, Esau returned from the fields, exhausted and famished. His sweat dripped onto the soil. The air hung heavy with the scent of spices and lentils. Jacob had prepared a stew that seemed to sing to the senses. "Let me eat some of that red stew," Esau groaned. collapsing by the fire. For I am famished. Jacob turned to him, his eyes thoughtful. Sell me your birthright first. Esau scoffed. I am about to die. Of what use is a birthright to me? And so, in a moment of hunger, Esau swore an oath, giving away the double inheritance of the firstborn, the blessing of Abraham, for a bowl of stew. And Jacob gave him bread and lentil stew. Esau ate, drank, wiped his mouth, and went on his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright, the deception of blessing. Isaac had grown old. His sight, once sharp and sure, was now cloudy like the morning mist that veiled the hills of Canaan. The man who had once walked with confidence now felt his way along the inside of the tent, guided more by memory than vision. Time had slowed his steps, and he knew the end of his days drew near. One morning he called for Esau. His voice was thin but held a tone of urgency. "My son," he said. "Here I am," Esau replied, stepping into the tent. "I am old," Isaac said, "and I do not know the day of my death. Take your quiver and your bow, and go out to the open country to hunt game for me. Prepare for me the kind of tasty food I love, and bring it to me to eat, so that I may give you my blessing before I die." Esau nodded, the gravity of his father's words settling on his broad shoulders. The blessing was no small matter. It meant the inheritance of leadership, divine favor, and the legacy of Abraham himself. But Rebekah had been listening. She had always listened to Jacob's footsteps, to Isaac's voice, and more importantly, to the promise that God had spoken to her years ago. The older shall serve the younger. She had waited and watched, and now she would act. She hurried to Jacob, her voice low and urgent. "Listen carefully," she said. "I heard your father speaking to Esau. He's sending him to hunt and cook a meal to bless him before he dies. But you must receive that blessing instead." Jacob's brow furrowed. "But my brother is a hairy man," he said, "and my skin is smooth. What if my father touches me? He'll know I'm deceiving him. I'll bring down a curse, not a blessing." Rebekah's eyes flashed with determination. "Let the curse fall on me, my son. Just do what I say." So Rebekah went to the flocks and chose 2 choice young goats. She prepared them with the same spices Esau would have used. Meanwhile, she brought out Esau's best clothes and dressed Jacob in them. Then, with deft fingers, she took the skins of the young goats and placed them on Jacob's hands and the smooth part of his neck. It was crude, but to a blind man it would do. Jacob entered his father's tent. "My father," he said, voice steady. "Here I am," Isaac replied. "Who are you, my son?" "I am Esau, your firstborn," Jacob said. The words hung heavy in the air. Isaac hesitated. "Come near," he said, "so I can touch you and know whether you are really my son Esau." Jacob stepped forward. Isaac reached out, touching the rough skin on his hands and neck. He frowned. "The voice is the voice of Jacob," he said slowly, "but the hands are the hands of Esau." Still unsure, Isaac asked, "Are you really my son Esau?" Jacob answered, "I am." So Isaac ate the meal Jacob had brought. He drank wine, and then he called for the blessing to begin. He placed his hands upon Jacob and spoke words passed down through generations. "Ah, the smell of my son is like the smell of a field that the Lord has blessed. May God give you heaven's dew, and earth's richness, an abundance of grain and new wine. May nations serve you, and peoples bow down to you. Be Lord over your brothers, and may the sons of your mother bow down to you. May those who curse you be cursed, and those who bless you be blessed." The words were spoken, sealed by the traditions of their people and the hand of God himself. Jacob had received the blessing meant for Esau. No sooner had Jacob left than Esau returned, game in hand and heart full of pride. He prepared the meal with care and stepped into his father's tent. "Let my father arise and eat of his son's game," Esau said, "that you may bless me." Isaac trembled violently. "Who was it, then," he whispered, "that hunted game and brought it to me? I ate it before you came, and I blessed him, and indeed he will be blessed." Esau's cry was full of anguish. "Bless me, me too, my father." But Isaac shook his head, sorrow etched in his features. "Your brother came deceitfully and took your blessing." Esau wept aloud. "Isn't he rightly named Jacob?" he cried. "He has cheated me these 2 times. He took my birthright, and now he's taken my blessing." Isaac, moved by Esau's pain, offered him a secondary blessing. "Your dwelling will be away from the earth's richness, away from the dew of heaven above. You will live by the sword, and you will serve your brother. But when you grow restless, you will throw his yoke from off your neck." But it was not enough. From that day forward, Esau nursed a grudge in his heart. "The days of mourning for my father are near," he said in secret. "Then I will kill my brother Jacob." The flight to Haran. Rebekah sensed the storm coming before Jacob did. Esau's rage burned silently, but dangerously, like fire smoldering beneath dry leaves. Rebekah knew her elder son well. He was not merely angry, he was biding his time, and she also knew that Isaac's days were not yet over. There was still time to act. One evening, as the stars prickled the velvet sky above the camp, Rebekah pulled Jacob aside. "Your brother is consoling himself with thoughts of murder," she whispered. "He plans to kill you once your father dies. But we cannot wait. You must go to my brother Laban in Haran. Stay there until Esau's anger cools. When it is safe, I will send word to bring you back. But you must leave now, tonight." Jacob, shaken and remorseful but obedient, packed his things. He did not know how long he would be gone, or if he would ever return. Before he left, Rebekah approached Isaac. "I am disgusted with living," she said. "If Jacob takes a wife from among the Hittite women, as Esau did, please send him to my family." Isaac, remembering his own father's care in finding him a wife, agreed. He summoned Jacob and gave him a fresh charge, this time with no deception. "Do not marry a Canaanite woman. Go at once to Paddan Aram, to the house of your grandfather Bethuel. Take a wife for yourself from the daughters of your uncle Laban. May God Almighty bless you and make you fruitful and increase your numbers until you become a community of peoples. May He give you and your descendants the blessing given to Abraham, so that you may take possession of the land where you now reside as a foreigner. And so, with Isaac's blessing and Rebekah's urging, Jacob left Beersheba and set out for Haran. The land was wide, the path long. Jacob had never traveled so far alone. Each night he made a bed under the stars, using stones for pillows. On one such night, weary and afraid, he laid his head down and closed his eyes. And he dreamed, a ladder stretched from the ground where he lay all the way into the heavens. Angels ascended and descended upon it, majestic and radiant. And above the ladder stood the Lord Himself. I am the Lord, the God of your father Abraham and the God of Isaac, the voice said. I will give you and your descendants the land on which you are lying. Your descendants will be like the dust of the earth, and you will spread out to the west and to the east, to the north and to the south. All peoples on earth will be blessed through you and your offspring. I am with you and will watch over you wherever you go. I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. Jacob awoke with a start. His heart pounded. Surely the Lord is in this place, he whispered, and I did not know it. He looked around at the desolate ground where he had slept and shuddered with awe. This is none other than the house of God. This is the gate of heaven. In the early morning, he took the stone he had used as a pillow, stood it upright, and poured oil on it. He named the place Bethel, House of God. Then Jacob made a vow. If God will be with me and watch over me on this journey, if He gives me food to eat and clothes to wear so that I return safely to my father's household, then the Lord will be my God. And this stone will be God's house, and of all that you give me, I will give you a tenth. With that vow made, Jacob continued his journey toward the unknown land of his mother's kin.